What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Meditations. So I suppose you could say it was predictable, eh? I knew something like this is going to happen. Just everything lined up. When you utilize the media and all the powers and principalities of the world to hate someone beyond measure, you're going to start stirring up some things. Stirring up individuals out there. Of course, maybe it was in the works. Maybe it was a sort of inside job. I don't know. But when you have so much hate and persecution on one person, they did this, they did that, they did this, they did that, evil this, evil that, just every single day, all the time, the probability is just increasing always. The chance of someone acting out, you know what I mean? But here's what's interesting. The interesting thing about Donald Trump, and I've known this for years, I've made this observation, and I've never really heard anyone speak on it. He's kind of like a double-edged sword. Well, actually, he's a lot like a double-edged sword. That shit's kind of sharp on both sides. All right? I mean, obviously, the rulers and principalities of the world hate him. They say the most vile things against him, and you could say, well, it's all planned out, it's all part of the show. But he goes out daily in front of 50,000 people plus, you know what I mean? Risking it all. Who does that? You know, that's a lot of people to surround yourself with outside when you're basically the most persecuted person on earth. All right? That requires some balls, to say the least. But here's why he works as a double-edged sword. So you know you have the people on the right. You have the conservatives, right? And then you have the libtards on the left. And what's interesting is this is causing all sorts of hate and strife on both sides. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what side you're on when it comes to the hate within that it's stirring up, if you allow it to. The conservatives hate the libtards because they're a bunch of communists, right? They're anti-nationalism. They hate our economy. They don't want us to use gas. They'd rather us get it shipped from thousands of miles away across the ocean, and somehow that's overall better for the environment. No, it's not, but I guess that's just one of the things. They're all about this woke shit, you know what I mean? They're all about censorship. But then the libtards hate the conservatives because, they're a bunch of nationalists, you know what I mean? They just want to preserve their country. They're racism, they're sexism. What are the other words that they use? They're all those things, like again and again and again. They're racism and sexism. They want borders and stuff. You know, I don't know. There's more to it, but I mean, you see what I'm saying? And they say, and the libtards say, oh yeah, the conservatives, they're destroying the global environment. And they're all pro, like, having babies and stuff. Like, too many babies. You know what I mean? Bad for the environment. It's just going to destroy the future of our planet, is what they say. The sort of words that they use. And imagine how much that could make you hate somebody if you think that they're partaking in the destruction of the world, of the environment, and this and that. You know what I mean? And that's just one of the many facets. And then, of course, the conservatives hate the libtards because the libtards are destroying the world in a different way. They're propagating all this woke shit that's basically anti-nature. You know what I mean? And it's not stable. The whole communism, socialism thing, they say it's not stable. They say that it eats itself, that ultimately it leads to vast poverty, the descent of civilization, things like that. You know what I mean? So they hate each other on both sides. I mean, it's amazing. It's like a double-edged sword. And you know what that does to an individual when you give in to that? Well, it's not good for them. You know how it is to hate? I do. I know how it is to hate. It's not good. It eats you. All right. Shush, doggy. Doggy's going off. I have to pause the video. Shush, doggy. Come here. German Shepherd, great dog. 9 years old. She's my baby. She's getting up there, though. But it eats you when you're full of hate. You can't sleep at night. And you scheme. You're like, well, how am I going to deal with this situation if this happens with these individuals? How do I look good? How do I win the argument? And then you have to research it. You know, I got to be keen on this, keen on that. Then you're like, well, what if they say this? What angle do I come? I got to be informed and all this. You know, it's vexing. It takes away your peace. All right? And it's not to say that you shouldn't choose a side. No. I mean, hell, I plan to vote. I think. This election. Yeah, I'm going to go do. I mean, I don't think I have to. I mean, I just one vote, all right? But if that's what they all say, it doesn't work, right? But I mean, I just want. I don't think that my vote is going to change the outcome, all right? So why am I going to do it? Well, you know, is it good to know that you partook in this? I don't really know. I mean, I'll probably vote. And I'm sure as hell not going to vote for all that woke shit. All right. But you guys see my point in this? How it can be divisive if you allow it to be. And how perhaps, if I'm willing to, now bear with me, how perhaps this in itself can be a work of God. You have this figure up there he's goofy, right? He's entertaining. He has the sort of responses, the not give a fuck attitude about him. Just kind of wings it. You know, it's easy to like that figure, and it's easy to hate that figure. It's easy to mock that figure. I mean, he's like a troll, right? Like, he'll set bait for the trolls to mock him, and then they can make all these media articles about him, and this and that. Oh, he did this, he said this, da-da-da-da-da-da. So he sets bait, you know what I mean? It's like a troll. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's a good strategy, it seems. But perhaps most importantly, it seems like he's authentic, which I think is what people gravitate toward, you know? He's not just sitting there reading off some teleprompter that the powers and principalities of the world read out for him a script. But it's like a double-edged sword. And people say this stuff is, some folks say this is biblical stuff. You know what I mean? Have you ever read Isaiah 45? And you know how he's the 45th president? Read Isaiah 45. Some folks say that's about him. And they might be right. Just the sort of waves he's making on he's shaking it all up on the world scale. Yeah, these world-breaking trade deals and things like that are potentially really good for the United States. And probably for the betterment to the other ones as well. But I mean, I don't really want to get into that right now. You know, the structure of everything is reliant on, you know, we utilize the manufacturing from slave labor. We're fueling it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like slave labor, isn't it? You know what they're going on over there in the Red Dragon country? You know the Dragon country? Those folks are like forced work and all that. And we're buying that stuff. So it siphons away from our own productivity, production of resources and goods. So it's slowly eating our economy, causing inflation, while at the same time buying super, super cheap things from over there that we no longer can make because it's so much cheaper to do it over there because our dollar's currently more valuable than what their currency is. You know what I mean? So they're over there, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to keep slaving these people and keep pumping out goods. But you'd really think the end game for that country is just to keep pumping out goods for the West? You think that's all they want? Like, oh yeah, we're just going to keep pumping out goods from forever. Because what they're doing is they're building up their army. All right? Now, I don't really know the end game to all this, but I'm just saying, I don't really think any world leader would have in mind, yeah, let's just pump goods out for this other country, just ongoing forever, and I don't really have any global conquest in mind. I mean, who knows where it's coming from? I don't really know, but there's a lot of things involved in this. But you see what I'm saying about the double-edged sword thing? And they'll say, oh yeah, he's like the trumpet from Revelation. Like, yeah, he's like the trumpet in the Bible. They're like, oh yeah, this is the New Jerusalem we're in right now. You know how USA and Jerusalem has USA in it? Jerusalem. You know what I mean? They say, oh yeah, this is the New Jerusalem. And he's like the embodiment of like a modern day wonky sort of David or something figure. You know what I mean? Whereas, I mean, the interesting thing about the United States is that it does have all the religions in it. You know, you're free to practice whatever religion. You have all sorts of diversity, really. You have cultures from all over the freaking world coming here. And in general, you know, can kind of get along. Now, I think the powers and rulers of the world hate this, you know, which is why they use the media to try to get them all to hate each other, get the groups to hate each other. And there's churches all over the place. You know what I mean? So Christianity kind of comes together well here. You got people from all over the world, all different backgrounds, ethnicities, and all that. They're all going to church together. You know what I mean? The powers and rulers and principalities of the world are trying to break that up as much as possible. I mean, the church goes against the need for big government. Is probably one of the reasons that these dictators hate it. Because it encourages the individual to give to the community and to help those in need. So that, of course, gets in the way of the government when they know, well, if they can't do it on their own. You know what I mean? They try to teach the message, you can't do it on your own. You need us. You know what I mean? So Christianity works against that. Which I think is a lot of the reason why they hate Christianity. And why, haven't you seen it like historically? Don't they always persecute the Christians and take down the churches, this and that? I don't know. Because it gets in the way of their scheme. But there's more going on here than that, as far as I would say. But what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Like this video if you will. I think I had more to say about that. But what's interesting is, like I said, if he's this figure that's being utilized as a double-edged sword that works us from within, because really it can be a work. You know what I mean? Like the Bible goes on about refining us like gold. All right, and we have to get that hate and stuff out of us. And this is exposing that. I mean, when you have this polarizing figure with people on both sides who are full of hate over it, and he's able to survive and endure, and we're all just sitting there watching him on the screen and just building this stuff up, it's like a work. It's like a work for both sides. You got the hate, you got the hate, you got the hate, but then it breaks you. It's self-destructive. But what could potentially come from that is redemption. All right? On both sides. I'm not kidding you guys. You got to learn to accept them. You know, even if you think they're destroying the world. Like I said, they both think they're destroying the world and the future of humanity. You know what I mean? And it's a biblical message from Jesus to love even your enemy. I mean, it talks about in the Bible how in the end days or whatever, family will be against family. They'll be their enemies. You know what I mean? And that's what's going on today. You know, there's not a war going on here like a big civil war of weapons, but there's a civil war of our minds and hearts. You know what I mean? We hate each other. Or has that cooled down a little bit? Or is it just me? Let me know. Remember how much folks hated each other a couple years ago? Is it still as bad? I'm curious what you guys have to say. I've been out of the loop, right? I don't get out too much. I don't go to a workplace or anything, all right? But let me know in the comments. Do people hate each other as much as they did, say, 3 years ago? What about 4 years ago? What about 8 years ago? Let me know in the comments. Is it at an all-time high? Or is it somewhere in the middle? I really don't know. I'm curious what you guys have to say about that. But it seems to me that the Creator could be utilizing this figure to get shit done, to break up the powers and principalities that be, perhaps, and their schemes and plans, and to work within us. You know what I mean? Because it's going to suffocate you if you just hate. And like I said, you got to learn to accept and to love your enemy, which is the only solution here. When we're forced to watch all this and live with our neighbors like this, you know what I mean? So the only solution, if you're not going to go out and break the law and do stupid things, you got to learn to accept it. That you got to learn to accept, like, okay, I'm going to accept someone who has a completely reversed perspective than I do. Even if I think that their ideology is going to destroy the world and the future for my children. You know what I mean? It doesn't get much more deep than that. That's why this double-edged sword is going deep. You know what I mean? And that's a biblical concept, where it says it gets down, way down to the source. So we're being refined in this. And I speculate that's why he's going to be able to endure. Even though he's like the most polarizing figure in the world and he's going out in front of 50,000 plus people a day or whatever. Somebody shot at him. You know what I mean? Whizzed by the ear, this and that. I can't help but wonder if the Creator is preserving this figure. And because there's plans with him, you know what I mean? And the Creator, according to the Bible, always uses faulty people. You know, Moses murdered somebody when he was 40 years old, and then he ran off. And he even disobeyed God a couple times in the Bible. You know what I mean? But God used him. And he wasn't all that great with communication. David had somebody killed in battle intentionally that was on his side, so he could then have his way with the guy's wife. You know what I mean? And David is like one of the most esteemed characters in the Bible. King David. He was the king. I mean, God uses broken, faulty people, you know what I mean? According to the Bible. So don't expect some angelic, righteous one to lead the nation, you know what I mean? There's going to be, people with a past. You know what I'm saying? People who've done things in the past that are messed up. But I mean, what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. It's just that sword is getting down, and I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but I don't think it's finished yet, this work. I mean, personally, I think he's going to get in, and what God has established, the enemy cannot tear down. You know what I mean? So there's a chance that, you have all these other side figures, all these pundits or whatever you call them, they're saying, oh, yeah, this stuff is wrong, I condemn this. But inside, they're probably like, oh, shit. They're writing those things on Twitter, they're writing those things on their social medias and all that. Oh, yeah, I condemn this and that, I condemn this and that. All the figures who are on the other side. But some folks say that these a lot of the political figures are scared. And the celebrities and all that, they're scared. They say that there's shit that's going to be exposed. I mean, I don't know how true that is. I mean, I kind of hope it's true because I just hate this bullshit. I'm not a fan of this progressivism bullshit. All right. Yeah, I miss the days when movies were good. What the fuck? Why are all movies just like these, like they're just filled with propaganda and subliminal messaging now, And what happened to beauty and goodness and things like that? Like, they're all just ugly as fuck. I mean, it's just, everything's been tainted, you know what I mean? Like, I miss the good old days where art and things like that, they were focusing on a good story and beauty and good overcoming evil, this and that. And not just a bunch of, a bunch of shit that they have to force in there that takes precedence over the story. I miss those days. So don't you got people like, what's that dude's name? Or is that a chick? Taylor Swift? Didn't he say that he's going to leave the country if Trump gets in office again? Can he take everybody else with him? God damn. Get the fuck out of here. If it's that big of a deal, why do you gotta say that, announce that? I mean, that's just my opinion right now. Can you bring everybody else with you? Can you bring all the Hollywoods with you? You know what I mean? Can you bring all that shit with you? But I appreciate you guys for listening. Like this video if you will. Subscribe to the page. Hit the bell so you're notified next time I post a video. Become a patron if you want to support me. Links in the description below. And may my patrons have many wives. And may your finances be blessed. And I'll see you tomorrow. Peace be with you.